Plan with me. This is a trip into my bullet journal. So far, as with every masterpiece, it is a work in progress. Everyone, and welcome to my channel. This is D Inspired, and we're going through my bullet journal. So first of all, I got a bullet journal that was just from the dollar store. Actually, probably see here, not sponsored or anything. It was just a $4 book. But I was actually really, shit me down over here. I was actually really surprised by the quality of the book. That it's got like a really hard cover. Its spine's kind of cute, like it's very exposed, kind of minimalist. It's got these vintage flowers on it, which I'm all about. Especially this year. Stop playing with that. My cat's doing his thing. Yeah, and it's got blank pages. I'll just open to a section I haven't done. Blank pages. It has these funky ones right here, which I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it. But I'm thinking somewhere between, I want to try vision board this year. I haven't done one in years. I think the last time I did one was way before college, and college was on it, and so I went through college, did all that. Now I feel like in a different transition of my life, because I started at my early 20s. Now I'm in my early 30s, so now I feel like my goals are different, my headspace is different, all of my stuff is so much different from when I was younger. So this is the cheap book. The supplies that I recommend using are like Crayola. And yeah, so these are just, I don't know if you could see that. Alright, well, super tip. So super tips there. I got some regular old Crayola markers. And yeah, that's how I do that. I use these black gel pens. And I got these in a big bulk container from, in Canada, we have one called Staples, but I'm sure whatever Office Depot you have. Other supplies that I have are this is a mechanical pencil, and I use that a lot. I don't have anything else I don't do anything very much like an investment on it. So when doing my journal, because we just kind of begun and we're only a month in, first specify your date, and that's what I do on my first page. You don't have to. The best thing about journals is or a bullet journal is that it is a journal. That's fun. It's got this bullet quality to it that comes within your day planner part of the journal, which I have not done very well in. It is also a diary, an agenda book, just all that kind of stuff. It has a lot of my to-do lists in it. If you follow my Instagram, I take pictures of that. I got little diary sections, that I just kind of write my blurbs. And then I keep track of all my habits that I'm going into. So that's what I have in my agenda part right there, and just kind of do it that way. And after the first few pages, the good thing about this book is after the first few pages, there's this cardstock kind of cardboardy piece on both the back and this. So it's almost like it created an index for me. So in this little index section, that's what I'm going through. So my second page said dream. So this one right here, this word right here, let's talk about that. I believe that in every single, I'm the person that that does a whole bunch of resolutions, that makes a whole bunch of goals and stuff. This year I want to get as many goals as possible done. I'm one of those people that they go through their goals in their own time. Yeah. So I go through my goals in my own time. But I want to get as many goals as possible. So I kept my goal keeper right here. That's pretty cool. So here I put down a bunch of goals that I wanted to do. It was only until after that I made this cover page and what this actually signifies. So that has hand in hand to do with my goals. So I believe that in every beginning of the year you should start with a mantra. A mantra is basically like an affirmation of how you think your year is going to be. These past few years and these past few months have been very hard on me, especially where I feel a loss of who I am. See, it happens at every age. Of who I am, of who I want to be, and where I want my life to go and in what direction. I feel like I'm being pulled into one direction and being pulled into another and just all over the board. And I feel like without that concreteness, I was very much lost. And it takes a big person to state, you know, I'm lost, and but I am. And so I was like, okay, well, I have all these dreams and maybe I should catch them. And that's why I should name this year Dream. The unfortunate thing is only until later on did I realize that that wasn't the mantra that I really need to do. My mantra is become. Become is my mantra. So I think when choosing your mantra, especially for a year, if you're going to go down that road, cat hair everywhere. So if you're going to go down that road on making yourself that motto, making yourself that mantra that you can, you know, always remind yourself where your goals are, where your priorities are, and where everything is set. In doing that, you want to find at least one, maybe two words that can describe that year that you're going to have. In past years, I've had like, you know, I've had horrible ones that were like Ice Queen, and it was because I was going through a transition where I had to cut a whole bunch of people out, and I had to remind myself why. So if I had to put that shield around my heart, I had to put that ice around my heart, and I had to be cold. That was one of them. That's a very negative example, but that's one that I had to keep telling myself. Another one was Survivor, and when I was going through a year, I would always have to tell that. I had a mantra that was like, failure is not an option. When I went back into school and I went to complete things like I didn't complete high school when I was supposed to complete high school. I was off living a life. I had an apartment. I had 3 jobs, 2 jobs, wherever. It was all over the spectrum. When I was doing that and I was living on my own, like I didn't have that opportunity to get done school. I had to fend for myself. And if it meant putting food in my mouth and having a roof over my head, then I had to go find the first minimum wage job that would take me, and I did. And I had to find odd jobs that I could line my pockets with, and I did. And I did that all on my own. And that was a very different kind of transition. And I'm like, honestly, if I could do it all over again, I would have stuck it out where I was at or found a different alternative, but I did not. And yeah, so in that transition, it was failure is not an option when I went back to school. And I had to keep telling myself, failure is not an option, failure is not an option. And then then I had this epiphany that I'm like, I'm smart. Like, I'm smart. My entire life I've been told I wasn't, but here I am, like, you know, pulling A's. Here I am being the top of the class, like, you know, graduating with honors, doing all this kind of stuff. Like, I'm actually a lot smarter in my life. So I had to convince myself and reteach myself that inside thing. Anyway, so humongous rant that was not related. Anywho, so, you know, holy. So this year, my mantra is not going to be dream. I'm going to have to figure out something to do with this. Unfortunately, it's not that. My mantra is become. Because this year, I need to become. I need to become me. That's what I was like, okay, yep, this is it. And there's a lot of goals that I have that I want for this ideal life that I am cultivating, that I am creating. Because I don't, like, you know, instead of the past, like my past few years, they've been very focused on, like, you know, all what was expected of me, but not all of what I wanted. And that was a big change when all of that came to a close this summer, where I had to pull myself out of my element, and I ended up living in a space where I was going through the day-to-day motion, and I'm like, I'm not happy here, I'm not happy there, I'm not happy anywhere. And why is that? And after a lot of meditation, I realized it was because I don't know who I am. So today and now this entire year is going to be dedicated on that. So that's that nice, you know, deep conversation on your mantra. So that's what a mantra means to me. Yours could be anything. Yours could be dream. Yours could be that. Yours could be, yours could be climb. Maybe you're going to climb that corporate ladder and you're going to climb out of a situation, or maybe you're going to be, maybe it's build, maybe it's excitement, maybe it's like, this year is going to be, I don't know, crazy. Maybe it's love. Maybe you're going to get more social. Maybe you're going to do all that. Whatever it is that you think that your year is going to be. Maybe it's legend. I don't know. Maybe it's unicorn because unicorns are magical. I don't care. Whatever it is to you, make that into your thing. So very first thing that I think is very important is you need to keep a goal like a goal tracker. And what are your big goals for the year? And I know that this is like a month later, but but so what? Who says that you have to start a bullet journal right in January? You could start it anytime you want to. It's never too late and never too early to change your life, right? So, with my goals that I've written down here, I've done an establishment of, or become more clear on my right direction. So what's my right direction and what is that? I need to get my priorities in line. Become more active is one. Become more clear, that I'm all frazzled. Maybe I need to become all that kind of, maybe I need to become more mindful. Become better hydrated, meaning I need to drink more water. Become a better eater and establish my diet. So that's some examples. There's other ones that are become, things like get my down payment for my house. I have a specific amount of money in my account, and I want it to be at a certain level by the end of. I have a spot to put where I'm going to be putting, because you need to put a due date on that. If you don't put a due date on that, then it's just, where's it going to go? It's just going to be written on a page, and then that's it. So I gave myself a due date on that, but that seems, my finances definitely seem to be something that should be private, not on YouTube. I've also given myself a reading list, because when it comes to motivation on yourself for a better life, I feel that I need to focus my reading list a little bit more. So I need to go and read biographies on famous entrepreneurs. They don't have to be famous, but entrepreneurs, motivational books that make you want to live that great life. Different books that can help me get those goals that I have. So, for example, I'm going to do a little shout out for one of my absolute favorite YouTubers that I've been watching since, for years. I'm going to say about 5 years or so. And that, I'm so sorry, I've always butchered your name. But it's Bex Barucki. Anyway, Beck's life. She wrote a book that I have purchased that says you have 4 minutes to change your life, and it's a meditation book. And so if you follow her on Instagram or YouTube, again, all that kind of thing, she's one of those people that are completely just humble. She's very humble. She's very authentic in who she is. She does not she literally just does not care. So she'll say things that because they're on her mind, and she doesn't care what people think. She's this is me, this is the reality, this is what makes me happy, this is all this kind of stuff, and screw all that kind of stuff. She's so authentic, and that's why I absolutely adore her channel. I have for years. I've dreamt I could have backyard chickens because of you, Bex. But yeah, so Beck's life is definitely a recommendation. Go check that out. She doesn't know I exist, but hey, Shut up. So my first goal, as you well know, because my channel is all about that, is my Whole30. So this is my Whole30 tracker. Become a better eater. These are my first goals. So this is just tracking my calendar to day 31. So right now on day 21, and I'm just kind of putting a little, little motivation or little what I'm feeling and like what I should be expecting, in these little bubbles. And that's fine. I lost my poor marker. So there's two different blues in there, but who cares? Whatever. So I'm just kind of coloring these in. So pencil crayons are also a definite, need for a book. So things like this. So I'm going to use this as my example, my Whole30. My first goal was become a better eater. So I decided to conquer Whole30 first. That was my number one goal. So I picked it. I did my research, as you should do with all of your goals. I made myself a chart and I started going. And I keep track of it. And these kind of things, is this going to change my life? I don't know. I believe it is. I believe it has. I believe I don't need to have those big results. The biggest part of this was that it was a big, humongous goal that was hard, that here I am almost done. Here I am, I'm going to finish it. And that alone is enough. So that was my first goal, was to become a better eater. So how do I become a better eater? Let's go into that. So first goal, become a better eater. Second goal, how do I become it? How do I achieve this? By eating healthy. How do I make sure that I keep healthy? How do I make sure that goal is obtainable? If it's almost like all through college we had to do these things called SMART goals, and sometimes we dreaded them. So become a better eater. How do I become and achieve this? Where do I get the guidance for it? How do I eat right? All of these questions were all answered. This is why I chose Whole30, was because I got one book and I read it all and I was like, that's how I can do it. I can do this. This is sustainable. This is measurable. This is completely this is completely straightforward. I can do this. So that's how I started with that. My next one is become more hydrated. I ran out of space, so I just kind of did it as a shadow. And say la vie, it's my book, not yours. So I made a little jar because I drink out of mason jars a lot. And, I'm going to start at a goal of just 1.5 liters. And I'm going to grow up into where I need to be, whenever that happens. I have an entire year to get to this, get to my goal. So my goal is roughly 3 liters. I'm at 1.5 liters a day. That's a pretty good start. So, in my next few weeks coming up, am I still going to be 1.5? I might be. Do I go to 2? It's pretty easy to go from 1.5. What's a 0.5 of a liter of water? I can do this. So I'm doing that, and I'm not tracking anything like coffee or tea. This is just water. So, so if you are interested in that kind of a goal, there are plenty of resources out there. Again, do your research on any kind of goal. I had to do a calculator to say what was the proper amount of water of my intake, because if you drink too much water, it's actually unhealthy. It's not actually healthy for you. I'm totally slouching here. All right, my next one. I told in my little squeal. I told in my one vlog that I was going to become more active. That's my thing. So I am not active at all, as my one vlog that I'm working on is an amateur's outlook on Whole30. So it's my amateur's outlook. I am very much an amateur on a lot of things. I used to be active. I used to be very active. I used to do karate, black belt in karate. I used to swim all the time, like a fish. What else? I did majorettes. Yeah. So I did majorettes. I ran track and field. I loved running. I played soccer. I did all kinds of activities when I was a kid, and I was very fortunate to live in a small town where all of those activities were next to nothing or free. So my parents had no issue with me going to a soccer practice that was just community, or track and field was all through my school, so it was a free program. Like things were always free, which is unheard of now because everybody seems to be very money hungry on that. So this one is my newest, which is my I'm proudest of. I made it very rainbow because I wanted to get it like away from that dread. So I'm gonna do week 1, and then I'll fill in my little footsteps or my little running steps or my running shoe steps, and then week 1, 2, and the goal is to work 3 times like a week. I will be running. So running to me, it will probably be like slower than a snail through peanut butter, but hey, something. The whole goal is to become more active, and I have a 9-week goal. So this is 9 weeks. This is my way of making this goal measurable, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's so far my 3 biggest goals. I have a few micro goals that I've been establishing, but these ones are my big ones, and I'm going to be making some more pages for those micro goals. So that's how my planner, or I guess it's not really a planner, my BUJO, my bullet journal has been stacking up. I am excited to establish what my vision boards are going to be, my goal boards. I guess that's what I'm going to do for these. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if I'm going to put, how some old school books used to be like a novel, and then here was all the pictures, and then they just kind of went on. I think I might go with that. I'm not sure, or I might be like, hey, this is how it is. So that's what I'm doing for my goals. So micro goals or habits. This is my habit logs, which would be me writing more. I need to get more into writing. I want to read more. I'm very much a bibliophile, which means that I'm addicted to books, guys. Planning more, which I am a planner. I am a planner type person. I do to-do lists. And my to-do list book is literally just a notebook that is a spiral notebook that has my brain dumps on them. It's just dumped all my brain onto there, all a to-do list or things that I hear that are interesting. So that's planning every day, reading at least 5 to 10 minutes, which isn't much, but hey, you have to start somewhere. So, or 1 chapter. Depends if it's a chapter book or not, so that's kind of, that. My budgeting, and then soon, when I become more mindful, I'll probably jump back into this guy right here, and my brand new page, will become more mindful, and I have a new meditation practice that I'll be doing, especially when I finally finish reading You Have 4 Minutes to Change Your Life. I'm going to finish reading it, and then it's kind of the type of book that you want to read all the way through, and then you're going to want to start over again, in the after the whole introductory chapters. You're going to want to start over again, and then do your meditations. At least that's my strategy on it. Some people, I'm sure, will read it and then do it while they read. That's also another kind of, if you're like that. Me, I like to know what's coming. Some people don't. There's also apps out there like Headspace, that are free apps that, again, hashtag unsponsored, that I'm going to do. My bullet journal is colorful, but it's minimally colorful. There's some out there that are so nice, oh my gosh, you have watercolors going on, girlfriend, or lots of washi tape. I do have all those art supplies because I love doing art, which I'm sure will be another goal, to become more arty, more artistic, I don't know, more creative, I don't know, but that's why this year it will become, I haven't made a little title page, which I will, why not, it's my book, not yours. So if you have a bullet journal and then you needed some inspiration, I hope that helped. But yeah, this is my video log on my, I guess it would be plan with me, or bullet journal with me, or just create with me. But this is my bullet journal, and how I'm going to make this year my bitch. I'm going to make this year the best year of my life. Because I'm going to finally figure out who I am. And where my life is going. What my purpose is. So, if that sounds like something you want to do, maybe you should, you know, really establish those tips with, like, you know, that I've given you. Give yourself a mantra. Go through what your priorities are. Make a list of your priorities. Make a list of your goals. And make a list of new habits. And, like, you know, this list doesn't have to be infinitive. It could be, give yourself, like I did. I'm starting out small. It's the beginning of my year. It's the beginning of my bullet journal. So start off small. So my very first one was, you know, become a healthy eater. So that one, and then build off of that. Then become more hydrated. Build off of that. Now become more active. Build off of that. And those guys kind of like all intertwine into each other. And then I'll get into, like, you know, there's other things that are more important than just what is good for my body. That's good. What's good for my soul? So establish what, like, you know, again, those are my priorities. Body, and what's good for my soul, and what's good for my pocketbook, or career, or whatever, right? So those are my priorities, and that's the list that they're in right now. So right now I'm very health-based. And that's okay, and then later on it will change. It will go into whatever it is. So, that's where I'm at. So, you know, so where was I? Priorities. And then establish those habits. So there are daily habits that you have to do that aren't necessarily a goal that you want to change. And do them one at a time. Don't just, like, dump it all onto yourself. If I took a whole handful of confetti and just threw it at you, you wouldn't know which one to grab. If I took one piece of paper and threw it at you, you knew exactly which one you want. So do it one piece at a time. And then, like, you know, and then it'll slowly build. It's like a foundation, every foundation that you build for a strong structure of who you are is only one brick at a time. It's not three shambles of a whole bunch of pebbles. You want to build something, you want to build it one solid piece at a time. So you have to remember that. So comment below, what's your mantra this year? That's your very first step. What's your mantra this year? And then see where that takes you. Live the best life you can. All right. And that is the first pages of my journal. If you liked this, give it a comment. If you're new to my channel, just kind of give us like a subscription. That's cool. Yeah, and if you are like, oh, you know, this is a good idea, why don't you do this? I will take suggestions. I'm not humongous into bullet journaling. I'm more into make your own planner, and I have a lot of, like, you know, make your own planner pages. So any inspiration is always good, and why wouldn't you get other people's criticism or other people's, like, you know, opinions on things? Because, like, you know, they're seeing a different perspective. You're seeing from outside in, and I'm seeing from inside out. That's how she goes. All right, so I hope that you guys have a fabulous day, and I'll see you later. Bye.